Hail, intrepid viewers, and welcome back to what is probably the finale. I guess you already know, and I don't, but let's progress. Here we are in Brisbane. We had no choice but to curl up under a local stream valve like wild dogs and shiver till morning. Were there no hotel options? That's horrible. Halfway through the night, we were accosted by a tired and starving stranger. I bid them join us. Yes, it worked out this time. And lay gratefully down in our heap, sharing a little much-needed warmth. That's cool, because we were dying. Sure, my relationship with fog deteriorated slightly, but that's going to happen anyway. Let's explore for a little bit. What do we got? Please be a route to Auckland. Auckland, huzzah. Dissatisfaction engineers. Steam, don't give me notifications like that. Holy crap, that's a long route. How long is it supposed to take? Oh my goodness. One of the Layden's crew waved frantically at me from across the street. "Passepartout," she gasped. "Over here!" I crossed over to her, and noticed that she was supporting herself with wooden crutches. Her left shin was bound up and splinted. "I need your help," she said, putting an ether rag to her face and inhaling deeply. "Please." What happened to your leg?" I asked, wincing a little as the purpled flesh I could see above the bandages. At the purpled flesh. "It is broken," she said. "The captain left me here to get healed. But Passepartout, the surgeon is a quack. He wants to amputate my foot." "Perhaps he is right," I offered weakly, glancing at her fractured leg. "I can't be a submariner with one leg," she said desperately. "I love the Leyden." "Why can't you?" "You could try a replacement limb." She gave me a bleak look. "You see any artificers here? I'd end up with a wooden peg and a parrot, more like." "That sounds awesome." "What do you want me to do?" I replied. "I am no surgeon." "I need to put a notice in the paper for a decent bone setter," the woman continued, "but the offices are in Moreton Bay. It is too far for me to hobble." Okay. How far exactly is it? I asked warily. "Only a few miles through the bush." "I will take your notice," I said with a sigh. The walk was long and arduous in the heat. But after an hour I was still determined. The baked dust sent dizzy trails spinning into the air, and strange creatures chittered in the scrub on either side. A man, I realized, could drop dead on these paths and not be found. This was a vast and empty country, in some ways as inhospitable as the trackless sand of Rub al-Khali. I walked on, my feet growing more sore and worn with every step. I walked on, eventually reaching the small settlement around Moreton Bay. The shoreline was beautiful and dotted with little fishing boats, but I saw no large buildings and nothing that resembled a newspaper office. I asked the first person I passed, a woman carrying several loaves of fresh bread. "You said what?" she demanded. I asked again, more slowly. "The Moreton Bay Courier, I have a notice for them." That's me talking, oops. There was clearly a confusion. "The Courier? What, the paper?" "Yes, that's right." Another laugh. "You came to Moreton Bay to visit the Courier?" "Indeed so." "Friend," came the reply, "the Courier's in the city, in Brisbane. Obviously, it's named after the bay, that's all. It's not here. Why would newspapermen in their lack want to live out here?" The submariner had been misinformed, I realized. Why had I trusted her word? She was as much a newcomer to Brisbane as I. "Say, did you walk here? You must be half dead." A few people were gathered around me now. One gave me a cup of water, taking something from my hand to give it to me. I confess I felt rather weak, and I drank. They set me down in the shade, my head span and lapsed into fitful unconsciousness. A few minutes passed. I began to feel more myself as the water revived me. "Listen," one man said sympathetically, "I'm on my way to town right now. If you want a ride, if you're well enough to ride." "That would be much appreciated," I gasped. "Well then, come with me." The man loaded me up into his cart and whipped the reins, and soon we were rattling along the dusty road once more. The trees that had crawled past now skimmed by in the other direction. "So what do you want with the Courier anyhow?" he asked. "You look like a foreigner to me." "I intend to give them this notice," I replied, reaching into my pocket to bring out the missive. But the notice was not in my pocket, not in either pocket, nor in my jacket, nor under my seat. I began to search around in some alarm, my driver looking at me with quiet interest but not slowing the cart. "I had a notice," I insisted. "It was in my hand." He looked blank. "You were clutching a filthy handkerchief wet with sweat," he corrected. "I think someone got you a fresh one." There was nothing I could do. In my staggering from the heat, I had lost the submariner's vital notice. Couldn't I paraphrase it? I could not even recreate it from memory. Oh, for I did not even know the woman's name. Finally, we returned into town, and I was dropped near our lodgings. The woman was waiting for me in the shade of one of the town's drinking dens, her face pale and sweaty with pain and heat. "You've been so long," she said. "Well, did you place my notice?" Still gasping for breath, I replied, The newspaper is not there, but here, in this town. She looked at me blankly. Give me back my letter, and I will deliver it. I can't, I shook my head. I lost it. She looked outraged for a moment, and then shook her head. What letter was this? Like, I thought it was a letter that she wrote. I'm so confused. Yes, right, then write another one. Gosh, it's not— Oh no, you have to write another letter! What a terrible burden! I just did a huge favor for you, lady. Or I tried to, so— just write another letter. Don't give me your sass. Then I'll write another notice and deliver it myself, since the offer is nearby. That would be best, I agreed, having had enough of noble errands for a lifetime. You found out that the courier is in town, she replied. For that in itself you have my thanks. With that, she limped away, ever more determined to find her bone setter and keep her leg. I wonder if she did, in the end, but I don't really care. To the market! To sell candles for— a not inconsequential profit. That's a pretty decent profit. Okay, so Auckland for 2,900. We need to go to Auckland. We have to go to Auckland. The machete. The Jungle Traveler's set. The Jungle Traveler's set. Acapulco for $1 billion. The harmonica, value in Panama City. These are good things. $8, $10. Boom. Bam. Practically free. Panama City. We may very well skip America at this rate. I don't know how much money we need. How much is it to go to Auckland? It's 1,000 to go to Lima. Just completely skip America. 500 to Auckland, okay. Tomorrow at 1 PM, by hot air balloon. We will not be healed in time. I shall rest. Or let's plan, I guess. Okay. Or what does this take? Why is this one so much more comfortable? Did I just click it to depart? I did not mean to. Okay, this... Oh, this is also airship. And it's only double the cost. Okay. Screw Auckland. I mean, it's a lot of... Oh, we need the money though. God diggity dang. Ugh! Okay, let's just sell everything. We need to hit that $1,000 mark. Market. Fence everything. No one cares about rum. Cool. 1,000. Can I depart now? Can I just depart now? Embark. Extra space for 18. Do I have extra? I don't have extra 18. Open the luggage. Crap. I'm gonna do, I don't want to miss, at 6 PM. Okay, I have a few seconds to sell a couple things. Heavy storm set. Okay, we're not gonna complete that set. Machete. Okay, I don't care. Pith helmet. I can collapse. Okay, depart. Depart. Come on, buttons load. Embark. Go. Oh, I made it. Thank the maker. Cataquil. This is a weird looking boat. Look at all those oars. Monsieur Fogg caught the eye of two unlikely companions as we boarded the airship Cataquil, a severely plated pioneer woman with a pistol strapped beneath her dun jacket, and a tall Peruvian wearing an elegant Spanish-style evening gown matched with scarlet gloves. A tendre, what is that? They seem pretty cool to me. Were they planning some mischief? I had the pioneer woman's eyes lingering... had the pioneer woman's eyes lingered with avarice my master's fine mustache. Yes, she wants to steal his mustache. Or was it something else altogether? Their heads bent together conspiratorially. Oh dear, am I an erection? Oh, he. Who? I thought it was two women. I don't know. He was a handsome enough man. If one preferred one's gentleman tall, pale, and utterly distant. The elegant Spaniard caught my eye and gave me a little challenging wave. On guard, it seemed to say. I realized our journey would not be a restful one. But somehow my relationship with Fogg improved slightly. Freaking who knows why. Okay, we have to heal the Fog or we will die. I do not think... So we have 13 days. It's Tuesday. In 2 days we will land. That gives 11 days to get to... 11 days remain to get from South America to England. Not counting heal time. I don't know if we can do it. The airship was comfortable and had several cabins, as well as a well-appointed restaurant and even a small ballroom for dancing. I was almost impressed. And took full advantage of these comforts. I had time to enjoy, including a fine cognac, While looking out over the waves, I caught a brief glimpse of the pioneer woman and her Peruvian associate on that first day, and... wondered again at the story... What story? Wondered again at their purpose, for they hardly looked like the sort of to travel without one. Most people travel with a purpose. I mean, depending on how you define purpose, I suppose. I cannot afford to converse with people. The pioneer woman collapsed heavily into the chair across from mine at breakfast and introduced herself as Madame Annabel Britton. "Your master," she said directly. "He's an interesting sort of fellow, eh?" "He is a gentleman through and through," I said evasively. She gave me a starched look. "And what are his particular interests?" "Timetables," I said immediately. "He is a fiend for an accurate timetable." Madame Annabel tilted her head as if filing away my statement in some dark, locked cabinet inside her brain. "Well, my last husband had a passion for growing turnips. Timetables sound much more tidy. Indeed, he sounds positively charming." "My master," I repeated incredulously. "Charming?" She smiled. "You have an excellent imagination," I remarked neutrally. Madame Britton cocked her head. "You're a very eccentric valet," she told me seriously. "Mr. Fogg must have hidden depths." With that, she rose from the breakfast table and left the room. A great stroke of luck, as it would have been deeply discourteous to attempt to drown myself in a teacup with a lady present. Again, mysteriously, relationships with Fogg have improved slightly. He wasn't even there. I don't understand. Fogg. Wait. Thursday? Or do we have 7 more days on this plane? Then we're definitely hosed. Oh dear. As we passed within sight of Auckland and New Zealand, the chair across from me was once more occupied by an uninvited personage, to wit, the elegant Peruvian. "Marisol Esteban Carlos," she announced. "It is 2 women. I thought so. You are charmed, I am sure." You are the velvet glove following the iron hand." I sighed in defeat. "I submit as surely as the French people did to Napoleon." Madame Esteban Carlos muttered a curse. "Annabel is a quick worker, I'd see. Did she mention you her husband was eaten by a bear?" Her voice turned warmly fond. "How wonderfully that dear girl lies." You are a very unlikely pair," I remarked. "Are we?" She arched a dark eyebrow. "I have always thought us suited very well." "But what of your friendship?" I implored. "Do not risk it in pursuit of the same gentleman." "Faugh!" she replied dismissively. "Annabel and I are ladies, not spitting cats. We will behave with graciousness, whoever wins the prize." I must say, I did not like the sound of this at all. She leaned leant in closely. "Will you not give me some advantage to offset Annabel's intelligence gathering?" He has a sweet tooth, I lied. If I can get some free stuff out of it. I don't know. Let's see. His name is Phileas. "Phileas," she said in her softly Spanish accented tones, turning the rather starched name to smoothness. "It suits him well." Merde! I felt a wave of pity for my poor, unsuspecting master. It was bound to be a bloodbath. As we settled down for the night, Monsieur Fogg remarked, "We have gained ourselves a day, Passepartout. We have crossed the date line." My master was, of course, correct. We had reached the point directly opposite Greenwich. Imagine what might have had transpired, had we forgotten. A less precise man than Monsieur Fogg might have finished on the 80th day, and yet believed himself to have lost. Amusing. We healed somehow. More grooming. A shined pair of shoes. Today was quiet, suspiciously so. I grew rather nervous and agitated, waiting for the lady's first move, and Monsieur Fogg cast me several wary looks. "Are you," he asked, as though it pained him, "up to something, Passepartout?" "I merely think you should be wary, monsieur." I gave him a pointed look. "Dangers abound on such long, lonely voyages. Strangely, Monsieur Fogg told me he would dress himself for dinner, and insisted I retire to my rooms for a short rest, as he put it. I have sent my poor gentleman lamb unchaperoned into the lion's den. I fear he will be gentleman mutton by morning. So we're healing somehow. This is marvelous. Monsieur Fogg remained unconsumed. Madame Esteban Carlos had referred to him by his Christian name without permission, and utterly scandalized him. Evening came. Ooh, I sabotaged her by mistake. Ha ha! Ha ha ha! "What will you do this evening?" I asked. "I think I have a headache," my master announced. "I will take my meals in my cabin." I applauded his good sense and timing in conceiving a headache. Alas, I was seized upon by the mesdames outside the kitchens. My tray was too heavily laden to mount a swift retreat. "You provided me terrible advice," Madame Esteban Carlos said, with a note of approval in her voice. "Sound tactics, but never fear, I will regroup." "I wish you luck on your hunt, mesdames," I said cheerfully. You do not think it would be easy, did you?" "I think not," retorted Madame Esteban Carlos with a thoughtful look. I am going to very much enjoy defeating you." "Merde!" I retreated from the field with as much dignity as a man balancing a plateful of boiled liver could call up. "Day 60, Monsieur Fogg murmured that night in his sleep, and still some distance yet to travel." "Yeah, you're telling me, bub. We should just hijack this boat and take it all the way downtown. I should probably be talking with people about getting routes out of our destination." Monsieur Fogg was lured out of his room by the promise of an evening musical, given by none other than Madame Esteban Carlos. I thought my master would be safe from her for the evening, for I know from experience that it is nigh on impossible to seduce a lover and play pianoforte at the same time. Indeed, it was Madame Britton who played her hand that evening. She entered the room carrying a bowl of ripe, fresh, deliciously scarlet strawberries, and sat in my master's eye-line. I sat back to enjoy the evening's entertainments. Madame Esteban Carlos's playing was all but forgotten as Madame Britton took one strawberry from the bowl and bit languorously into it, a droplet of juice chasing down her chin. "That's gross!" She ate the strawberries with thorough, focused indelicacy all through the performance. Do not make me describe her performance. Let me only say that Monsieur Fogg glanced in her direction, and I almost smiled in anticipation, but he only regarded her for a moment as if she were a specimen under glass. Then he handed her a pressed handkerchief. Madame Britton glared down at her empty bowl and wiped her mouth with unnecessary viciousness. Perhaps she would stop this foolishness now. No, I glanced at Madame Esteban Carlos, who was hiding a smile behind her music sheets, and I wondered if my master could be convinced into another, longer-lasting headache. Or, yes, I see. We wait. "Submariner dies during surgery. Doctor blames complications." Well, we know how that ended. That sucks. Was not overly attached to her, though. Madame Esteban Carlos set an easel down in front of my master on the observation deck. "I must beg you aid a lady in need," she said in a tone that sergeant majors often reserve for recalcitrant troops. "I must beg—" No. "I am at your service, madame," Monsieur Fogg replied with a bow. I gave her a respectful nod when his back was turned, appealing to my master's terrible affliction of chivalry. Was a masterstroke. "I am in desperate need of a man." Madame Esteban Carlos let that statement linger for a moment before adding, "for my life drawing practice." I watched in amused detachment as she adjusted the tilt of his chin and brushed the hair from the nape of his neck, and made husky remarks about the nature of the light hitting his aquiline features just so. Monsieur Fogg did not so much as twitch as she sketched him for the next hour. Madame Esteban Carlos smiled triumphantly as she slid her completed drawing over to him. It was almost too accurate. She had not softened the sharpness of his gaze, or smoothed the harshness away from his features. Monsieur Fogg looked at the reproduction for a long moment. "I prefer photography," he remarked mildly, which caused her to break her pencil in apoplexy. You! She seemed to suddenly collect herself, and smiled. As though Monsieur Fogg was a snake she was trying to charm. "You are a very logical man." What did they see in me? Monsieur Fogg arched a brow. "An accurate observation," he remarked. Knowing when to regroup, Madame Carlos Esteban took her leave. And I breathed a sigh of relief as she stalked elegantly away. This sketch of Fogg should fetch a good price in Marrakesh, should we decide to sell it. Oh no, I didn't get to groom the Fogg. Mesdames Britton and Esteban Carlos did not approach Monsieur Fogg at all the next day, but only glared thoughtfully at me over their plates of stew. I have done nothing, more or less. I tipped my glass at them and winked. They bristled, and Madame Britton winked back at me. I had not known it was possible to wink at someone in fury. Where's the groom button? Groom, 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 groom. Yes, we're gonna reach 50 maybe by the time we land. Madame Britton hissed at me furtively as I finished my breakfast and indicated I should follow her. I complied, of course, my gentlemanly curiosity aflame. She led me into the pantry, which was empty as the crew were cleaning away breakfast. "You," oh, Madame Britton, "you," she replied, "are proving to be a problem." I will not get in your way, I promised. There is no need to threaten me. She glared at me. Then you will stay here for the rest of the day, quiet as a mouse. I will not, madam, I cried, which is when she hit me over the head with a large sack of flour. How did she... what? And locked me into the pantry as I was attempting to scramble back to my feet. Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to open the pantry in any second. I had no doubt the ladies would be defeated by Mr. Fogg, Monsieur Fogg. I only had to wait them out. At least I had been imprisoned somewhere with plenty to eat. But what about the bathroom? It was Monsieur Fogg who came to release me, just after dinner. Passepartout, how unexpected to find you in the pantry, he said with no trace of irony. I imagine you are quite tired and wish to retire immediately. I scrutinized his face for some sign of what had transpired with the mesdames, but he was as cool and remote as ever. Still, we were nearly at the coast. Why are they into this sickly man? Can't you see he's about to die? His mustache hasn't even been properly shaped until now. Madame Britton and Madame Esteban Carlos both waved cheerfully at Monsieur Fogg, their arms interlinked as they disembarked the Catquille. Catquille? He did not glance in their direction. Was that a blush staining my master's cheeks? He caught my glance and gave me a sharp look. I am merely courteous, Passepartout, he said, rather defensively. I thought, a practice I would advise you emulate. I beg your pardon, monsieur, I said quickly, dismissing all thoughts, though I had my own suspicions which I took care not to voice. I regarded him with new eyes. Had he? Surely not both. No. It was inconceivable. Utterly scandalous, but they were all three smiling a curious sort of smile. Apparently, my master was quite the dark horse, at least when away from familiar shores. Cool, we have landed. To the market. What do we got to sell? 13. Anything worth selling? I don't think so. Geometry equipment. Valuable in Rio de Janeiro and Caracas. This is valuable in Marrakesh. Sugarcane. Marrakesh. Do not have money. Do not have money. Cracker biscuits. Ernest and Prim. We shall explore first, I suppose. What are our options? Can we go to Panama City? And please let it be by Zeppelin. That's the opposite direction. I walked the streets a while, discovering the possibilities of how we might make progress. Did it work? I really hate this planning step just because time passes during it. Okay, so Caracas is there. We kind of want to go to Tabantinga. We have no money whatsoever. Yeah, we're just screwed. We have 15 days. 15 days. Gadzooks. What can I sell? Air Traveler, ginger tablets. Sure, let's get rid of some of these things. I don't anticipate taking a train from here on out. I should have sold that railway cap ages ago. Ah, we do have the jungleness, which is nice. Air Traveler set, which is fine. Frequent flyer set, we can sell that. We're not going to complete that. Ottoman Railway, why have I been holding on to that for so dang long? Heavy Storm set, definitely don't need that. Okay. Condense. We cannot sell that. Peruvian beryllium. That sounds really cool. If we can make it to Marrakesh... Wait, where is Marrakesh? Remind me. Santiago. Caracas, Panama. Blah blah blah. Didn't we already like pass Marrakesh? I had all these things, all these train things uncovered, and I didn't get to freaking exploit them. Whoa. You can get to the North Pole? This game's gonna be super freaking replayable. Oh, there's Salvador. That seems way out of the way. Caracas is the only place en route. What things can I buy? Oh, you closed already. Okay, we'll hotel it up. We were invited to a glittering party hosted by Gibbs & Son, the leading English merchant house in Lima. They took a proprietorial interest in any newly arrived Englishmen and, bien sûr, their loyal valets. Gibbs & Son made their money in guano, that is to say, fertilizer made of bird droppings. I thought it was bat droppings, interesting. Hardly, a rather dull treasure compared to silver and gold, whatever, as mined by the Spanish conquistadors, and yet it was all anyone could talk of. I fell in with a group of social reformers debating Peruvian debts to London, which were apparently all secured by, yes my friends, guano exports. A tall woman by the name of Madame Held coughed. We have people riding in the... I was trying to make a coughing voice. We have people riding in the streets. Unemployment is turning good people into criminals. We have people for unemployment. Why are there riots? I asked in surprise. What I had seen of Lima so far betokened a prosperous, modernizing city. There are food shortages besides the unemployment, Madame Fuentes, dang it, who had been introduced as a guano heiress. Lima is a grand estate with creditors knocking at the door. Occasionally we pop our heads out and throw guano like gold coins at them. Are you running out of guano? I asked, pained to have to imagine the guano creation process in anything other than vague detail. No, but a government cannot rely solely on one export, and the whims of shipping, that's true. Yes. That is exactly the point, a portly fellow by the name of Monsieur Salazar interjected. We should not be looking north rather than east. Haiti has promised us automata to excavate the guano more efficiently. Excavate. Extract? Oh, I did not interrupt. I had little interest in the details of the guano business, and even less desire to pretend I did. Then why was this an option? The United States of America has promised us money, Madame Fuentes put in, to general approval. Madame Helt coughed and added another option. Or we could borrow from the Chinese banks. We use their labor enough. The debate raged on, and I took the opportunity to converse with the servants, who, after all, had their own opinions on Peru's future. The government makes all these new buildings and now a railway. The host butler shrugged his shoulders. But there is no food to buy in the shop. How is that? I think it's something to do with budgets, I suggested vaguely. I do not understand it myself. Well, neither do I, he shook his head. The guano millionaires and the government don't care for the people who are starving. The people should seize the guano islands for themselves, I said. That is what we would do if this was Paris, hold the guano itself to ransom. The butler's eyes lit up. And when the government sends airship and cannon, he asked. Surely you have sympathetic captains of your own? It is an absurd notion, the kitchen maid commented. It is an absurd... I don't know. But this is an absurd situation. They gave each other significant looks. It seems I had set the cat amongst the guano-producing Peruvian pelicans. Soon after, I collected Monsieur Fogg and returned to our hotel, my head spinning with the political complexities of agricultural fertilizer in Peru, and I did not mean to click. Ah, there we go. I am pleased to say that I did not dream of birds or their precious nitrogen-rich excrement, so I can right-click at any time to get to the map. That is good to know. If I depart, my options are crap. Okay, gotta wait for the bank. We were so close. We were so close. If only I'd gone to Hong Kong, I am convinced I would have been able to pull this off magnificently. Oh well. Let's fast forward to 10. Doop, doop, doop. Bank. Gimme, 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 gimme. I don't care about the bank. I don't care. I'll make a withdrawal. I want... Oh right, it's Thursday. Crap. Crap. Well, this will be enough to get us to the next day. Okay, return to the bank tomorrow, collect funds. That might actually even, like, functionally be a 2-day rest, because we might miss whatever leaves before the bank opens tomorrow. He passed anxiously. I kind of want to heal up, but I'm going to run some errands. Get a little bit of money. Okay, wait for the bank. Bank. This is our first time using the bank, which is terrible. Okay, depart. Is anything even that cheap? I didn't even look at what I could afford. Okay, these things are cheap. That's red. We'll take this one because it's not red. To Panama. Bye. Ooh. A gyrocopter. I was hoping to get in one of these. That looks cool. We found a Peruvian woman who was making the journey to Panama, sitting in an unsteady-looking gyrocopter. Still, once we had paid her a small fee to let us on board, I found she was most professional. Yeah, that one. Going as far as changing into a uniform before taking the controls of the craft. You fly this route regularly? I asked, realizing I should perhaps have ascertained that before we set off. She nodded, shouting back over the roar of the whirling blades, I live for the sky! At least, I think that's what she said. Let's wait. Another victim of the Madras Head Smasher found dead! Am I the Madras Head Smasher? Every time I sleep, I smash a head? We soared through the air, looking down on the vast ocean on one hand, and the endless continent stretching away on the other. I asked our pilot about routes onward, and she shrugged. The fastest way out of this place is through Port-au-Prince, but getting there, that's something else. Where is Port-au-Prince? Where is the Port-au-Prince? Belém, Bogota, Caracas, Panama City? Port-au-Prince, there it is. The gyrocopter could not fly for several days at a time. In fact, it could barely manage several hours before it had touched down and refuel. However, it did so using a large concave mirror? Sure. And a piston of water. Ah, I see. And whatever the effect involved was, it was extremely quick, and we were airborne within the hour. Didn't lose that much HP either. Groom the fog! To mitigate it even further, and Panama City. We arrived. I should have spent money on a thing for selling Panama, dang it. We arrived rather abruptly, circling twice over Panama City before dropping, rather like a dog sitting down. Our pilot patted me on the shoulder as we disembarked. "Enjoy the rest of your time in this part of the world," she declared. "There's much there to be wondered at." I looked back at her ramshackle little craft, and thought that, indeed, she was quite correct. Cool. Market. What do we got? Can I sell this? It's Marrakesh. Which I don't think we're going to go to. False passport, left of the law, iron ore, San Francisco or Port Royal. Anything in Port-au-Prince, Dakar. These are Houston and San Francisco. Yeah, nope, nope, nope. Oh, air sickness pills, that's cool. Okay, but we do probably need more money. I'll have to explore. You know what? It is, just a second. Let's explore first. Okay, Panama City. Oh, no, 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 that's the wrong way, honey. Honey, I am not going to Acapulco. That's the only thing we discovered? Good gravy. Panama City. Panama. Okay. I'm going to end the episode here, because it's only been like half of the time to day 80, right? So that probably means the next episode will be the finale, and also probably pretty long. So I don't want to make this a doubly long episode, just an abnormally long episode. So sorry for misleading you in the previous episode, but at least your hopes were dashed immediately when you first played this one and didn't see that it was the end. But the next one will be the end. I guarantee it-ish. Signature catchphrase.